Welcome. Let's get into this. I'm going to read a couple passages in this book and tell you what I think about it. And yeah, we're going to get into it. This book is called Apprenticed to a Himalayan Master, a Yogi's Autobiography by Sri M. Sri M. It's a great book. I've read it a couple times, and it's very fantasy. It's way out there. It's a lot of the stuff in here is so crazy, and it's hard to believe. Like, it's very out there, you know. It's very wild, very fictitious. But I personally think everything in it is totally true, totally real. It's a lot of like magical things happening. Very cool. There's like I can't say exactly what's in there, but I don't want to give it away, you know. But let's get started. Page 18. I'll read a passage. I love the book. It's amazing. I think chapter 3. I shall start with the first of my extraordinary experiences. No one other than those close to me, like my mother and grandmother, noticed the changes in my personality. I began to be more introverted I had been in than I had been, and my mother would often find me sitting or standing under the jackfruit tree staring at the sky or nothing in particular. She also used to say that I would sometimes talk in a strange language in my sleep. Interesting. However, she was relieved that I no longer suffered from the strange madly malady malady I mentioned malady I mentioned in the first chapter, the screaming and running out of the house in my sleep, the ghoul-like creatures that used to chase me and try to grab me and vanished without a trace from the day I met the stranger. Okay, so his nightmares left when he met the stranger when he was a kid. I think it was Babaji, right? So no more nightmares after he met Babaji, which is pretty cool. I think it's super cool. Right, so no more nightmares. Where were we? Ghoul-like creatures that used to chase me. Right. I would also pester my grandmother for stories of saints and Sufis. When her stock was over, I did not mind the same stories being repeated. I began to find great happiness while meditating at night. Many times I would drift into deep sleep while meditating and have vivid and elaborate dreams. Some of these were forgotten, but some remained deeply impressed in my mind and indicated important events that were going to take place in my spiritual journey. One such dream occurred 3 months after the jackfruit tree incident. I dreamt of a beautiful green valley surrounded on all sides by towering snow-clad mountains. towering snow-clad mountains. I think that's somewhere in the Himalayas he's dreaming of. I think it might have been seeing a past memory, like a old from his past life. Beautiful green valley. I dreamt of a beautiful green valley, surrounded on all sides by towering snow-clad mountains. At the foot of one of these peaks, there was a cave, a malicious chant in a language, a malicious, melodious. Sorry, I'm terrible reading some days. A melodious chant in a language I could not understand came from the inside of the cave. Yet it somehow sounded familiar. I moved towards the mouth of the cave and looked within. It was a fairly large cave. In the center of the floor was an open fireplace with orange flames leaping from the burning logs. At the far end of the cave, on a raised platform facing me and the fire, sat a bearded middle-aged man with long dark hair. The lower part of his body was covered in a kind of brown tree bark, and across his chest was slung a white girdle that looked like a cotton rope. He was leading a chant which echoed by a number of young boys. Also, which was echoed by a number of young boys. Also, a long-haired we got neighbors. Loud neighbors distracting me. That's all right. A chant which was echoed by a number of young boys, also long-haired and wearing similar garments and girdles. The boys sat facing him and the fire in the semicircle, carried away by the chants. I suddenly found myself imitating them in a loud voice. The chanting stopped abruptly. The eyes of the man on the platform came to rest on me. "Come forward, young fellow," he said. I was surprised that I understood him perfectly. Although he spoke a strange language, I moved into the cave. By now, the heads of the boys turned in my direction. I was embarrassed that I was dressed in shorts and a sleeveless vest and had close cropped hair. The boys started giggling and whispering to each other. "Stop!" shouted the man. The boys fell silent. "You," he said, turning to me, "chant." I chanted haltingly. I don't know what that word is. Knowing that I was totally off key, the boys started giggling again. "Stop," said the teacher. "You have forgotten the proper way to chant. Go back home and learn how to do it." Before I could say, "But how?" the dream faded away and I heard my mother's voice saying, "Wake up, wake up." I mean, there's tons of stuff like that, like put in here, and some of it he explains, and a lot of it he doesn't explain. So it's like, I mean, this could just be a regular dream, or maybe he kind of connected with his master Babaji in the dream, and the rest of the dream doesn't really matter. But I think it could matter. Like maybe that's out there somewhere in the astral plane, and all the other students were like, followers of Babaji, because I think he's such a big figure out there in the spiritual world, such a leader, such a master, leader, yogi, teacher, that he has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of devoted followers, people that follow him through lifetimes, several lifetimes, and they slowly evolve with his guidance. So that little cave with the kids, it could be like symbolizing that he's a cosmic teacher. He's out there, Maybe. I could be wrong. Probably wrong. But it could be right on some level. Wake up, wake up. I woke up wondering about the dream. I think this is episode 7, if I didn't mention that already, for whatever it's worth. I woke up wondering about the dream. It was Sunday, and I was happy because I didn't have to go to school. I could wander around the backyard or draw and paint or tinker with old clocks and gadgets in the attic. After a breakfast of delicious papam, I don't know, potato stew and an omelet. Appam? I don't know what that is. I sat on a big cane armchair in the hall and wondered what to do next. My father used one corner of the hall of his office. Used one corner of the hall as his office, and his corner there stood a large rosewood desk, the drawer of which he would always keep locked. My eyes now wandered to this table, and I saw that the key was sticking out of the lock. Perhaps the drawer was not locked, though I thought to myself, I had always been curious about what was kept inside. This was my golden opportunity. My father had gone out early in the morning for a medical checkup, and the table simply beckoned to me. In a tris, I was sitting in my father's chair, fiddling with the key. The drawer opened and I looked inside. There were all kinds of files. Thick accounted books, bills, stamps, pads, and a lovely old Parker pen and some excellent pencils. Looking around to make sure that no one was watching me, I dug deeper and found under a thick stack of files 2 books. One was a small orange booklet called Japa Yoga and Gayantri, and the other was a well-illustrated book on yoga. Japa Yoga. And okay. It had a lot of photographs of a man in various postures, which I thought were gymnastic exercises. I later learned that the little booklet was by Swami 𝐀𝐛𝐨𝐿. Don't know who that is. 𝐀𝐛𝐨𝐿, a well-known teacher of Vedanta. At the time, however, I was simply fascinated by the books. I had discovered I had to find a way of appropriating them, and hoped that my father would not notice they were gone. At this point, I must tell you something about my father. Apart from his livelihood, this man, his main interests were bodybuilding exercises. I don't know what this is. Calaripiatu, a Malayali version of unarmed combat and self-defense. Hindu philosophy and cinema. Interesting. He had graduated in Malayalam literature from the Kerala University with Indian philosophy as his optional subject. He had an abiding interest in Vedanta and other related topics. So Vedanta it's one of the main types of Hinduism. I think might be related to the a certain set of books. Vedas, the 4 Vedas, maybe. I don't know. I'm just learning. Please correct me if you guys have any information on the Vedanta. I know it's a main type of Hinduism. I don't think it's non-dualistic. I think it's dualistic, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's good. It's a good one. It's a good religion. He had an abiding interest in Vedanta and other related topics, and attended lectures on these by eminent experts. He was not overly religious, however, and the only demonstration of his Islamic roots was his joining the congregation of the Juma Majesty Mosaic twice a year during Ramzan and Bakrid Id. Otherwise, he was a happy-go-lucky man who never missed the latest movie. Before taking to the practice of yoga, he was a heavy smoker as well. Even before he started yoga, he would be up early in the morning and exercise vigorously for an hour and a half. Wow. Sometimes he would wake me up and teach me a few simple exercises. Of the 2 books I found that day, in my father's table, it was the little orange book that interested me more than the books of exercise. But I decided to take both of them out. Then I closed the drawer and locked it, making sure that the key was left just as I found it, tiptoeing down to the bathroom where I kept my school bag. I pushed the books into it and came out once again to the hall. Then I played and whiled away my time. Waited for an opportunity to read the booklet. Soon after lunch, I quietly took out the book out of my school bag and ran to the backyard. On the way, I saw my sister doing her homework. I would have no trouble from her. I would have no trouble from her. Reaching the jackfruit tree, I settled down under it and opened the book, and there it was, the mantra I had heard and tried to chant. Ooh, the mantra in his dream is in the book. very interesting synchronicities, coincidences, two incidences coinciding, albeit imperfectly. In my dream, I could not read the original Devanagari script well because I had just started to learn Hindi in school. But being an English medium student, I could easily read the excellent translations in English. Om Bharavash Savai Tat Savatur Varanyam Bharago Devesaya Tamahe Hayo Yona Prakodayat. That's probably not done properly in any way, shape, or form, but I had to attempt it, right? The chant, the mantra. So he, like in the area that he's in, the upper left area of India, he's grows up Muslim. But in his previous lifetime, I think, in the beginning of the book, he was a full-time dedicated yogi living in the Himalayas, being taught directly from Babaji. And then he did something very arrogant, turned away some sort of Sufi master guy, and the guy was near death, and then he died. And then Babaji told him in his arrogance he threw away years of his advancing spiritually, and that he would have to go and, leave his body and reincarnate to try to fix some of the bad karmas. And then he had to be born into a life of suffering, like the person that he turned away. Similar life. And so that's why he's Muslim now, in this current incarnation where he's alive now, and in this book. But you can tell that he already kind of knows other languages just from his past incarnations, like pieces of them, which is pretty wild. Very wild. I forgot to say like and subscribe. I think I'm supposed to say that within the first 2 minutes. That's what people are doing now. I think I heard it's because 90% of the people only watch 2-3 minutes or something. That's what I heard. Something along those lines. And also too, a lot of people don't say, please like and subscribe. And then the ones that do get more subscriptions. You just have to say it, because a lot of people watching YouTube don't even think about it. They're just like, la, la, la. And you're like, oh, by the way, like and subscribe. It helps my channel. And then they're like, oh yeah. And then you press subscribe. I remember when I would watch YouTube, I didn't have a subscription, or what do you call it? A membership? I wasn't logged into it for 5 years, and people are like and subscribe, and I'm like, I don't know how. I don't even have I didn't put my email in, or whatever you do. Yeah. So like and subscribe. Anyway, are you into this book? I totally am. I'm just gonna mark my spot here. Yeah, deadly, awesome, deadly. People don't say that anymore. That reminds me of something. One guy that I know, he says, "Peace out, peace out," and it's funny because it's so old. Some people, for the younger crowd, they might not even know what that means. They've probably never heard of it, but for us older people, it used to be what people said was kind of cool in the late 90s, late 90s, I don't know, 80s. Peace out. It's funny because now people, I think for the last 20 years or so, maybe more, people just say peace. So anyway, cheers and peace. See you another time. There'll be more coming down the pipeline. Have a good one. Cheers.